Happy 2018, everyone. I was going through my normal routine of checking business headlines a few mornings ago, and I came across this one. When $1 million retirement nest egg isn't enough. I always read things like this with great curiosity because let's face it, a lot of people are going to retire without $1 million nest eggs. Let me read you a couple of lines from the article, which is cited for your reference. It's by Mark Avalone, president of Potomac Wealth Advisors. He says, "At $1 million nest egg has long been considered the benchmark for secure retirement. Sadly, these days it's only a fraction of what you will really need." He gives a for instance. It says, a 67-year-old baby boomer retiring now with $1 million in the bank will generate $40,000 to live on in the first year, adjusted for inflation and assuming a sustainable withdrawal rate of 4%. There's so many holes in this article it could pass for Swiss cheese. There's so many erroneous assumptions, but let's just consider a few. The first assumption is that you're going to outlive your money. Look, no one really knows how long you're going to live. The assumption here is that you're going to withdraw $40,000 per year and outlive your depletion rate. That's a big assumption. That would put you at 92, which fewer than 1 in 20 ever reach. If you use the average life expectancy of around 81 years, then you'd really be able to pull out about 7% of that million, or about $70,000 a year. The second bogus assumption is that it's all drained with no gain. It is making the assumption that the retirement funds that you have are not going to increase in value at all after you retire. Now, if you have your money in a simple money market account, then it's probably a safe assumption your money isn't going to grow very much. In fact, inflation will likely decrease its value over time. But let's take a scenario where your 401k money is still in the stock market. And I'm not talking about some risky investment like a Bitcoin or even some company like Tesla. I'm talking about a stock that's stable, like a AT&T. AT&T is a company that is currently paying over a 5% annual dividend. It has a stable, cash-generating business and has increased its annual dividend every year for the past 35 years, even through the financial system meltdown of 2008. So let's say that you have $1 million in AT&T stock near yesterday's closing price. That means you would own 26,000 shares. At a payout of $2 a share for 2018, you'd receive $52,000. If it costs you $45,000 a year to live in 2018, then at the end of the year, you would not only still have your $1 million, but you've added over $7,000 to that total. Now, inflation will impact the purchasing power of that income stream. And inflation doesn't show up equally in all goods and services, so it's really hard to predict how it's going to impact you in retirement. But what's not in this model is the fact that many dividend-paying companies increase dividend payouts over time, thus negating some of the impact inflation may have. And since dividends are based on the number of shares that you own and not the dollar amount that you hold, the effective yield on that money may easily stay ahead of inflation. I'm personally holding a stock right now that when I bought it was paying 4.5% dividends. Now, based on the dividend rate increases, it's paying 7.2% on my original investment, and I haven't added any more money to that. The final thing this article is obviously overlooking is Social Security income. Now, I know that Social Security is considered anything but secure. Nonetheless, it's still around, and the average payout is around $1,400 a month per person. That's not a lot, but for a couple, that's $33,600 a year. So let's say that you have only a $500,000 retirement nest egg, but that it's yielding 5% annual return. That's an additional $25,000 added to your Social Security that now gives you a total of $58,000 total income for the year. I'm not suggesting that you go out and put all your money in one dividend-paying stock, but what I am suggesting is that there are some relatively conservative ways of building an income-producing portfolio of stocks that may allow you to live out your retirement without ever seriously depleting your principal amount, even if you don't start with $1 million. Hey, I know what I'm saying doesn't apply to everyone. There are 1,000 different things that can impact your quality of life in retirement. But that headline was a scare tactic. It was written by a personal financial consultant who wants you to come in and spend money for his or her counsel. With a little homework, You can figure it out yourself. It's really not that complicated. It does take discipline though, and that's not something a financial consultant can instill in you any more than a personal trainer can force you to do workouts daily, right? Hope your 2018 started off great. Thanks a lot.